Nate Hardy,
Present.
Commissioner Robin Meyer,
Present.
Commissioner Andres Miller.
Present.
I am Commissioner Dante Philpott, Commissioner Carl Valenzano,
Present.
and Commissioner Dennis Walker. She's not able to be with us this evening. So we do have a quorum. So we will move right along. So next on the agenda is going to be approval of minutes, and we'll table that to the next meeting. So we'll move forward. Any objection to tabling the minutes approval from the first meeting or from the initial meeting? Okay, so then we'll move right along to item number 4, unfinished business. We will discuss policies and procedures. So who would like to start? Any of the planning commissioners?
Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Hello, can you hear me? Or is this working?
No,
Okay.
turn it on.
Hello?
There we go.
There we go. Wow, that is embarrassing. So this is kind of a recap of what we talked about the last meeting. The Planning Commission has moved to adopt formal policies and procedures when conducting their business, to have a formal process when reviewing the applications, when to recommend approval, when to ask questions of how to conduct a meeting. So that is exactly what they talked about at the previous meeting. This meeting is just to basically to finalize exactly and to have a consensus on those rules and procedures moving forward. And so that can be a regular occurring thing and a framework of how we conduct these meetings moving forward as the city gets older. Besides a few grammatical errors and a few format issues, where there's any issues or any corrections from the Planning Commission regarding the policies and procedures.
The floor is open for any commissioners to speak.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Go ahead.
Have I turned this on?
Yes.
Okay.
Should probably put it closer.
Mr. Wheeler, on page 15, section 16E, addresses how a commissioner should conduct themselves in the instance of a conflict of interest. And as it reads now, it says that the commissioner who abstains should give his or her reason on the record and then remove themselves from the planning commission dais. And I would propose that that person remove themselves from the planning commission hearing room. I think it's better for that person not to be in the audience where side conversations are possible. I think it's better for them to be out of the meeting room entirely.
Yes, ma'am. Anything else?
I think there was communication, something for section 16E. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said page 15, and that got me confused. Okay, sorry. I'm thinking 15. I see 16. Sorry about that. I think I don't have any other changes or amendments. Any other commissioners? No? So, question for you, just to make sure that we're following proper procedure, do we need to file a motion to have that submitted, or?
Yes, sir. It's just with the motion and just a motion of approval with the correction that Commissioner Myers has suggested, you guys are good to go.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the policies and procedures that Commissioner Robert Meyer has proposed.
Second.
Oh, so we need a motion first.
Sorry.
I'll make a motion to
All right.
approve the procedures and rules as amended by Commissioner Meyer.
Okay. Motion submitted by Commissioner Carl Valenzano. Do we get a second?
I second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? Mr. Wheeler?
Yes, sir. On to new business. For new business, Planning Commissioners has 4 cases or 4 items for consideration. First item is the rezoning case Z-25-01, 550 Lions Club Drive and Lions Club Drive. It's a rezoning from general commercial to R20 single family. Next consideration is a special land use permit 25-001 Swarms Football Club LLC. Applicant and the location is 3598 Marathon Circle. Then the last two items on the agenda is an ordinance to create a noise ordinance, and then amendment of Chapter 10, review and decision-making bodies for the Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay.
Again, the first case for consideration is, again, Z-25-001. Applicant is TKH Ministries. They are looking to rezone the 4.62 acre parcel from general commercial to R20 single family residential district for the construction of a church. The applicant is trying to establish a church facility on the property. The church is intended to serve the surrounding residential communities and provide spiritual services, community events, and outreach programs. Before you, this is a zoning map and an aerial map. Hashed out in black lines is the proposed properties, and then the aerial map is showing what the star is. As you can see, the property has a frontage along Lions Club Drive. This is the proposed site plan that the applicant has submitted for consideration. As you can see, they're clearly showing the indication of a new church, as well as outlining proposed stormwater detention facility, as well as adequate parking for the church and then for the congregation. This is the proposed elevation of the application of the applicant submitted for consideration. With all our applications, staff does provide technical analysis. Staff did provide technical analysis of this application. Staff did come to a conclusion of recommended approval, as well as staff did have Cobb County provide plan review comments for this application. No outstanding issues except for one issue, which the Planning Commission will discuss, is the location of the property either located in the Veterans Memorial Highway Overlay District. Commissioner Myers, I believe, brought it to my attention previously that believe that the property is located in the Overlay District. However, staff believes that the property is not located in the Overlay District, as in the code. Located has frontage along Veterans Memorial Highway will be subject to those rules. But again, it's also been brought to my attention that the county has included that section to be in the overlay district. So, however, because it's not specifically written out in the code, staff still do not believe it should be subject to the Veteran Memorial's overlay design standards. So that's why it's not listed in the recommended conditions of approval and so forth. I do ask you to hold your questions until the applicant has presented, because answer at that time during their presentation. And the applicant is here if they wish to come up.
Mr. Wheeler, I know we just approved the. Can you make sure everyone in the room is aware of the time limits that we did approve?
Yes. So again, I will have more of a formal announcement at the beginning of these meetings. When we have a public hearing, unless motioned by the Planning Commissions, the public hearing will have 10 minutes for and 10 minutes in opposition. The applicant has a total of 10 minutes to present their case to the Planning Commission. Use all total of 10 minutes. They can save their 10 minutes for rebuttal. In that case, they'll sit down, and those who may speak in opposition will come up and speak in opposition. Unfortunately, those who speak in opposition, you do not have the opportunity to save your minutes. You have to use the entire 10 minutes, or everybody who has spoken their turn. Then the applicant can come back and speak. Do their rebuttal, specifically for the rebuttal of the concerns that the public has brought. Not a chance to kind of relitigate. Once those 10 minutes are up, unless motioned by the Planning Commission, that is it for the public hearing. Good?
Good. Okay. Any other commissioners, any questions, issues?
Yeah, and again, I will have a formal announcement at the beginning of these meetings moving forward. Okay.
And for applicants or anyone speaking in support of or opposition to, at least for this meeting, kind of train your eyes on Mr. Wheeler. He'll let you know, and he'll be over here, I'm sorry. He will let you know when you've reached, the midpoint, 5 minutes, when you're down to 1 minute, so that way, you don't go over your time. And that's the same for, again, people speaking in support of or opposition to any particular case. So whenever you're ready, Mr. Wheeler, the floor will be yours.
Good evening, everybody.
I'm sorry. So at this point, thank you for that. At this point, we will open the floor for the public hearing portion of the Planning Commission meeting, and you may begin.
Good evening, everybody. I want to just introduce our team. Of course, our founding pastor, Pastor Thomas Goggins of Thy Kingdom Has Come International Ministries, and I stand on his right side as his wife of 38 years as a pastor as well. We are excited. We've been serving Cobb County for the last 18 years. And when we say serving the community, that's exactly what we've been doing. So we found in 2021, we purchased this land to build our church home. So we were renting buildings and found out that our church was growing. We would grow out and then we wouldn't have space. We would have to move. The Lord made it so that we found this land on 550 Lions Club Drive, and we're excited about building the church for the community. We have great capacity within our ministry to serve the community like we have been doing for the last 18 years. We also partner with Watson Browning's civil engineers who have done a phenomenal job with this particular project, making sure not only that we have a home that we can serve this community, but just doing the logistical work that needs to be done to make Mableton not only a better place. We believe in Mableton. We believe in Cobb County. We've been doing it for a long time. So church, some of our ideas for our young people in the community as well as seniors. We have a great vision for this particular area and this particular community. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the community. There's a lot of homeless in this particular area on Lions Club. They actually live on our property and have been for the last 2 years, and we have problems trying to get that rectified. So one of the things that we know as a church that we can do, we can at least point them in the right direction and let them know that even though they're in a downtrodden state, there's still hope. So we hope to bring more hope to this community. And so with your approval today of our rezoning, we'll do just that. And I'm going to let Z, you want to say something? This is our civil engineer. He's a miracle man, y'all.
Hi, hello. My name is Zaid Khan. My nickname is Z. I represent Watson Browning Engineers. And Teresa, I guess she just said everything that had to be said. I'll answer any technical questions that anybody may have, and we'll open the floor now, or you want?
Yes. We give your time back.
So how much time was that? Okay.
7 minutes and 13 seconds left.
Okay. So if you yield the rest of your time, then we'll open it up for anyone speaking in opposition. And again, you will have 10 minutes total that can be taken by one person or 20 people. Same 10 minutes. Yes, sir. You can step to the podium, please.
My name's Steve Young.
Yes.
I represent the Mableton Improvement Coalition. I actually, in general, the zoning commission, the zoning committee is in general support of this development. We think Lions Club needs a lot of TLC, and I think this facility will bring some of that to the area. We just have several concerns. One is we do believe that this conform to section 3.39 of the city code, which is the Mableton Parkway Veterans Memorial Design Standards. We believe that this is parcel does it, and would like to see it happen. We also would like to see the landscape design, particularly around the areas of the park and the residential areas that are to this parcel. We would like to see sufficient screening planted so that the activities of the church don't intrude upon the the solitude and the quiet nature of the residential areas and whatever park activities are going on. Apart from that, we are fully supportive of this development. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else speaking in opposition to the application? Okay, no. Mr. Wheeler?
Yes, sir. And do a rebuttal. Other than that, you can close the hearing and then ask questions of staff or the applicant. Is up to your discretion.
I don't know if there's anything else that you guys wanted to say with the remaining 3 minutes that you have, or no?
With respect to the landscape design, the site will be properly screened and it will meet or exceed minimum requirements.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you. Oh.
Yeah, I just want to address the part of I think it was the overlay that you were concerned about because of where the church's position drive. I think that's part of the decision that has to be made when we're talking about rezoning because we're behind Veteran Memorials Drive, if I'm not mistaken. So therefore, I'm not sure if we should have to comply with the standards of actually on Veterans Memorial about the overlay. So I understand about the concerns that you have with that, but being a church which we are, part of the design is nothing less than exceptional to the eye. So with that being said, if there's any reassurance in saying that it will not be positioned or constructed as being an eyesore to the eyes. So because of the sanctuary, so as it being constructed as a sanctuary, I think it would meet criteria unless otherwise suggested that we fall in the category of needing the overlay as being on Veteran Memorials Drive within itself. Thank you.
Thank you.
So to kind of, I'm sorry, I'll wait.
No, go ahead.
Oh, yes,
Go
sir.
ahead.
So to kind of, so I'm looking at the architectural standards right now in the code, and new buildings should consist of predominantly brick in combination with at least of the two of the following materials. Additional brick, primary facade, brick must concentrate at utilizing various shades of color or varied pattern of orientation. I'm sorry, stone or stucco. I don't know if you could see, but the proposed elevation looks eerily similar to what they're proposing now. Again, it's up to the Planning Commission how you want to proceed, but you can always condition approval based off the proposed elevation that an applicant submits to you. And you can always ask them to, again, to specify, they call out those materials. So when it comes time for approval for submittal of the building plan, they have to submit that material for approval to staff for that to sign off on. So that is an option. However, you don't have to do that option if you choose not to, but that is an option available to you.
Okay. And I think at this time, as planning commissioners, we want to make sure that any questions are addressed. I don't know if any of the planning commissioners have questions for Mr. Wheeler or for the applicant. Whoever wants to start, or I can start, it doesn't matter. So I guess I'll start. So the question that I have, and this will go to the applicant, looking at this elevation, that's the only elevation that I saw. Do you guys have any additional elevations that kind of spell out what, the material, whether it's brick, stucco, or combination of the two colors, so on and so forth, with all dimensions, all sides, anything like that other than a front-facing picture? Yes, sir.
We do not have elevations at this time, but we can always submit for your approval at a later date. This is just a rendering, showing the front elevation, that is, will be on Lions Club itself. So we can submit as needed.
Please.
I'm having a little bit of trouble at this angle, seeing the picture, and it wasn't in our packet. So could you describe to us the materials that are on this front facade? I see the white area and sort of a tannish area, but I'm not sure what the materials are.
Yeah, the bottom half that looks brown is going to be brick, and the upper portion is going to be stucco.
Okay, and the roofing material?
Shingles, either shingles or metal roof.
If it's a metal roof, what color metal?
We can do whatever, the commission requires or recommends.
Okay, thank you.
The floor is open for any other commissioners. I know we're taking notes, but any other commissioners have any questions? Okay. Another question with regards to the site would be the landscaping. I don't know if you guys how are you planning to install like a tree line buffer or anything? Like, where would it be? I don't think that it would be in the front by Lions Club Drive, but I don't see anything that calls out landscaping buffers. I don't know if you plan to have like a brick retaining wall, a welcome. I think I saw something about signage in the future. I'm not totally sure, so I don't know where the signage would go, how tall it would be, if you have the dimensions of the signage yet, or has that been discussed? Because I didn't see it. If I missed it, I apologize, but I didn't see anything on there with regards to that.
There's going to be a monument sign right at the entrance there. It's labeled there. You can barely see it, but it's right at the entrance. And again, the sign is going to meet, whatever the city requires. With respect to the landscaping, there's a dashed line along the east property line there, which will be landscaped and screened per the county, the city requirements as well.
Okay. And I think there was, forgive me if I say this wrong, but I think there was like a tree adoption that the city of Mableton adopted or implemented. Has there been any discussion with regards to what types of trees or shrubs or bushes or anything like that? No? Okay. Just wanted to double check, make sure I didn't miss anything.
Just
go ahead.
Be careful. I believe that was a first read.
Okay.
So I don't believe an ordinance has been officially adopted.
Gotcha. Okay.
I would like to ask a question. So if this, okay, that's a little better, proposed site plan. I was just trying to get a clear understanding of the design that you all envision in putting on the property. So was that picture of that rendering of the front, is that it, or is there something more like this that will show where the parking lots or the entrances and exits, and the landscaping is going to be something more detailed? Because I'm along with our chairperson here, we didn't get that. So
well, if I can explain the site plan, there's a rectangle there that represents the building, where the building footprint is going to be. There's the entrance off of Lions Club Road there, and it goes down all the way to the back where there's a dumpster pad. We also made provisions for the power company, because there's a transmission line that runs, from north to south. And there's more than adequate parking. We exceed the minimum. So there is not going to be any like street parking or anything like that.
So all this is your property, or this is just like the line? Okay.
Lions Club Drive is the road at the front, on the bottom of the page. And if you look at the black outline, that's the property.
Okay, so, but there's no shrubbery, trees?
No, this does not,
Design.
this just represents the site layout.
Okay,
Step forward and speak into the mic,
sorry.
please.
okay, all righty. Can we get that? I mean, can we maybe table this and maybe ask for that and get a more detailed of what they're planning?
We can. I think
Okay.
that's a possibility. So a question that I have, you mentioned dumpster pad. Will the dumpster or dumpsters, will that have a barrier around it so that way it's not exposed?
It's way to the back. I wish I could come and show you.
That's okay.
But it's down to the back there, and it more than likely will have an enclosure around
Okay.
it with a gates and stuff like that.
Okay. And another question is for hours of operation. I think I read something there where it was like what I want to say Thursday, Saturday. Can you guys, someone that represents the church, can you guys speak to hours of operation? Sunday, Tuesday. Okay. Oh, you can step here and speak into the mic, please. I'm sorry about that. Thank you. I told you, bumps and bruises. We're gonna get there.
Yes, Sundays are, of course, is regular Sunday services, and Tuesday nights is our Bible study nights.
Okay. Any weekend event?
We're a
Okay.
church, yeah.
Okay.
We have a full youth department, so
Okay.
we may be outside, yeah, it may be events, but we do our calendars a year out, but we don't have anything to share tonight.
That's
that-
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Any other questions from the commissioners?
Not for the applicant, but I have a question for Mr. Wheeler, when that's appropriate.
Yes, ma'am.
Chris, there are not any specific landscaping plans available at this point. I'm sure that the development standards that the city will be using have some requirements in landscaping. Are you able at this point to share with us what that is, or is that?
Unfortunately, no, ma'am. I'm not talking about, I mean, I have the standards, but I don't have it in front of me. And the special exceptions, again, staff has to sign off on the landscaping plan for this use for it to go all the way through.
I think some of the concern is that the property to the east, not along Lions Club Drive, but further north than that, is presently zoned residential and probably, but is vacant and could well be developed residentially. So one of the concerns would be that the landscape buffer in that area and on the northern property line be robust enough to make future development of that residential property attractive, and along the northern property line for that landscaping to be robust enough to protect the county park property. The zoning analysis, or your staff report, correctly identifies that property to the north as zoned as R20, but it's also Cobb County Park property. It's just not developed as parkland yet.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So just to kind of, if I can go down a tangent and so forth,
Please.
planning nerd. So theoretically, landscaping requirements, in my experience, are often a result of different incompatible uses and so forth. So you have a commercial property located next to a residential property, so you would have to have a landscaping plan to kind of buffer the different incompatible uses. However, since it is a church located in residential, theoretically, you would think a residential zone property next to a residential zone property, there wouldn't be a necessary landscaping plan. However, here in the county, they decided that no, even though it's a residential zone property, because of the nature of the use is a little bit more intensive, there should still be a landscaping plan. So just doing some quick research and reading. So anyway.
That was it? Okay. Wanted to make sure you had the floor. Any other questions from any of the commissioners? Okay. So at this point, can we make a motion to up or down either way, or if there's with stipulations or? Okay.
And then after that, you take a motion to consider an action.
Okay. So we'll close the public hearing portion at this time, and we'll move to, I guess, make a recommendation of some sort. So do we have any recommendation or motion for any kind of recommendation from any planning commissioners?
There is some question in regards to whether they should comply with the overlay requirements or not. In addition to some up in the air, well, incomplete renderings, if I'm saying that appropriately. So I think we should maybe table it until we can verify whether they are required to comply with the overlay, as well as provide some more detail. Am I wrong? Okay. Some more detailed rendering as to how they're going to do the landscaping and the buffering and everything that we talked about tonight.
Hold on, just a moment. Excuse me. Public hearing portion is closed. I'm sorry. Did you have?
Yeah, I'm just getting some clarification really quick on
Okay.
your options.
Okay. Give us just a moment, please.
To her point with the overlay, we had a meeting with Commissioner Sheffield regarding that, and we were told that we would not be held to the standard of the overlay because of the position of Lions Club Drive. So we have that on via email as well as. Thank you.
Okay, yes, you can do the deferral if you choose to.
Well, I was going to ask if there was anything that you wanted or needed to add and make sure that we were.
No, sir. I'm just getting clarification as far as if you choose to recommend denial, but you have to be specific. I mean, not denial. I'm sorry. Deferral, or to explain specifically what you're asking for deferral for and what your information you're looking for, and then I believe it's for 1 month. I believe.
So there can be a motion to defer, up to only no more than 1 month. And if you're seeking, you have to state why you're seeking that referral or deferral. So at this point, it seems like you're inquiring about more information as to the overlay and anything else. You want to make that specific, asking for information for, so staff can then provide it to you, so you'll be able to make a decision at your next meeting. Clarify your motion.
Yeah, we'll let you clarify your motion since you raised it. Yes.
Okay. Do we take questions? Someone's had their hand up.
No, public.
No. Okay.
No.
Public portion is closed.
Public portion is closed. I would like to make a motion to defer for 1 month so that the email that you received regarding your overlay requirements can be submitted along with a more detailed rendering of the building, the site plan, the landscaping, and buffering that is being requested. So we can have, I don't feel comfortable just giving, approving something that we don't actually see what you plan to build. You're telling us that whatever, I'll go with the motion. Sorry. So once we get a more detailed vision of what you plan to build and a copy of the email you received from Commissioner Sheffield. So I motion to defer for 1 month.
Okay, so we have a motion to defer the zoning application pending confirmation of the overlay requirement, detailed rendering and/or site plan, landscape buffer. Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposition. So case, what is this? Z1 has been deferred for 30 days, and we will hear it again at the next meeting. 1 month, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Next case is SLUP 2025-001. Applicant is Swarms Football Club LLC. The property is located at 3598 Marathon Circle. The applicant is seeking a special land use permit to develop a 5,000 seat stadium. And the total acreage is 14.82 acres. This is a zoning map of the subject hashed out in black ink. The star represents the subject property. Again, this is the aerial photo showing the subject property again hashed out in black ink with a yellow star. This is the proposed site plan showing exactly how the developer will develop the soccer stadium. And the applicant will provide more detail for you regarding everything. And this is the proposed expanded view of the site plan and parking. As you can see, there's parking located adjacent to the subject property and as well to the north. Staff does provide a technical analysis for all applications. Staff did seek recommendations from Cobb County. Again, late, I believe it was yesterday, staff did submit the report for you, the updated traffic report with updated comments from Cobb County showing the answer, as well as we did get email from the applicant to be able to address some of the concerns that from some concerned citizens. I just don't have that in front of me. They're on my laptop as well. But the applicant can be able to address those as well. I did reach out, Cobb County did reach out to me as well from the Stormwater Division. Unfortunately, they are not unable to make it here. So if you do have any additional questions, I will definitely forward those over to them to get those addressed as well. And then we'll make a practice of asking somebody from Cobb County, Stormwater or water or sewer and water to make themselves available if there is any issues regarding their areas of expertise. And that applicant is here to answer any questions as well too.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay, so we'll open it up for public comment. And again, same rules apply. Applicant here, you have 10 minutes. You can spend it all on yourself or anyone that wants to speak in support of, and anyone who's speaking in opposition will have 10 total minutes. So we'll let you start again. Keep your eyes trained on Mr. Wheeler. He'll let you know when you're at the midpoint, so that way you don't go over your time. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Planning Commissioners, it's a real pleasure to be here in front of you. My name is Kevin Moore, and I'm here to represent Swarm Football Club in this application for a special land use permit for this 15-acre property, and go through it with you, answering your questions you might have, and hopefully seek a positive recommendation to your city council. And it's exciting for me to be here as well. I know this is your first meeting, and congratulations. And I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the city of Mableton. Just to highlight where this property is located, in case you're not familiar, so this is the very northern end of the city of Mableton. If you're able to look behind you and you can see the screen, where it starred, you see a bunch of white bubbles. Those are the Colonial and Marathon pipeline facilities, tank farms. Those are really large white tanks. If you go up to this section, that's the east-west connector, which is the road on top of the screen there. Right before you get to the intersection with Powder Springs Road. To the left is Anderson Farm Road, which is where the Colonial and Marathon facilities are located. This property actually was a Marathon property. It's left over. They have not used it. It's actually zoned heavy industrial, just like you would expect that tank farm to be. They're a great corporate partner, both Colonial and Marathon, and this property has been currently used for soccer. It's been used as soccer fields, for soccer tournaments and practices. It's actually lit, has lighting, and also parking, and it's been used that way for some time. There's been an agreement in place with Swarm and Marathon Oil, who owns this piece, who did own the piece, for some time about its future use, and Marathon's desire to see it be used for soccer-related facilities, as a way to have what is heavy industrial property that's not needed for their use, but to be used for a much wider and better community use. In this particular area, if you're familiar with Traymore Park is just down the street on the east-west connector and has had a very abundant and expansive soccer program for youth for many, many years. My daughters played soccer there, and that's been a great feature for Traymore Park. This continues to build on that, and the fact that you have already existing that level of professional and tournament use, as well as youth and rec league use of this property today. The last thing I just want to point out is, again, where it is. This is not in the middle of a residential neighborhood. What's adjacent to it, all in purple, is heavy industrial property, and as well as then you have the commercial properties that are along the east-west connector. So this is fairly insulated property in this location. Obviously, we have a great relationship with Marathon, Colonial Pipeline, which is the one that's the major tank farm user there. This is their major junction that comes through Atlanta. I've had the opportunity to speak with them at length. Colonial is actually also a client of mine. And so we were able to get with them, and they are fully supportive of this project and think it's a great continued use to convert this facility, which now is fairly basic, as the beginning point for a much more improved soccer stadium facility that could really be the start of a great halo effect for this particular area, which we believe would be very welcomed and quite exciting for this area. The more detailed look at the site plan itself, where you can see the stadium, we'll have a plaza area. The stadium is actually on the right-hand side. One clarification, we did have it included. This initially was a 5,000 seat stadium. We reduced it to 3,500 seats in our application, though there's some holdover about that. This is a 3,500 seat stadium. That's what's proposed as the maximum seating that's on our plan. And it's also, importantly, our parking is designed to meet the requirements for the 3,500 seats. But at this point, you see where this property is now that you would access, really coming in from the east-west connector. This site plan shows the actual stadiums on the right. There's some parking along the right and the bottom that's very close. The shaded or area that you see is plaza area. There'll be an expansive plaza with concessions, lockers, and lounge areas, as well as the seating areas, the main seating areas on all four sides that you see there. There's also an additional practice facility and soccer field that you see there as well. So you can see this is going to be an expanded facility for soccer, and key point to that is for professional soccer. Both USL 3 and MSL Next are anticipated to be here and be a part of this facility to raise that level to what could become here. As we work through this plan, this was, just for your information, this was initially proposed in Cobb County, but when it came before the Planning Commission, it was at the end of last year, and it was decided that because the city would be taking over the zoning functions as your city, that this was delayed till now. So this has been in the works for quite some time. One of the things what we were able to do, and it's just is look at this expanded view, and that is utilize the expanded Marathon property to ensure that all parking needed and required for this stadium is on, well, I'll say, this side of the east-west connector. So it's within walking distance without crossing the east-west connector for those expanded events when those do occur. In addition, the questions that have come up are twofold. Number one, there was questions with Cobb Department of Transportation as we moved through their traffic study process, and we're happy to report as of the end of April 29th, Cobb County Department of Transportation did accept and approve a final traffic study. It's about this thick, if you've never seen one, especially one this detailed. So if you want to read that, be my guest. But at the end of the day, DOT accepted and approved our traffic study and its recommendations, which they incorporated into their recommendations, which we agree with, that include a number of different traffic improvements and traffic control mechanisms as it relates to events and how this will operate. And Cobb DOT was very pleased with that. And then further, as we move forward with specific event planning during permitting and so forth, that'll be refined even further. But the framework now is there that's all agreed upon about how that will work to ensure that traffic flows at appropriate times when there's events. And to put it in context as well, please remember, like a 3,500 seat stadium, our high school stadiums around here are typically 6,000, 10,000, 12,000, depending on which high school. So to give you some perspective, because it's always hard for me to think in terms of what does 3,500 people or 3,500 seats look like. But that kind of gives you a feel for that those are a little bit more. The other question that came up at the end, it was also expressed by the Mableton Improvement Coalition, and wanted to make sure there was answers in our discussions with them, and that is about the stormwater concerns. And it's really stormwater comments that were put in place that Mr. Wheeler referenced. We had our professional engineers, which is Kimley Horn, provide a detailed response to that point by point. And the response is not a counterpoint. The stormwater comments were actually questions, making sure, are you aware that this will need to be done, or this will need to be done, or questions about how are you going to make sure that stormwater is being controlled adequately and where. And Kimley Horn was able to respond to that. There was a great deal of information that's actually involved in the detailed plan of this that Cobb Stormwater didn't see, and that was pointed out to them, and where the various stormwater detention facilities are and so forth. We feel that answered the questions, especially at this conceptual stage, and have provided that, and we're certainly happy to answer it in further detail, understanding, of course, that Cobb County Stormwater, when this goes through permitting, has very intense requirements that must be met, and we will be meeting all of those requirements, and those will not, and us meeting those requirements will not result in us losing parking or having to greatly revise this site plan. It will look basically like what you see here, and fairly close to it. Again, we think this is a fantastic opportunity. It's one that you, at this stage, which would be a $10 million project for this location, it will absolutely be something that energizes and provides a place for entertainment, as well as providing a place for a good number of folks to continue to enjoy playing soccer. We think this is a great opportunity and are excited about bringing it forward in the city of Mableton. We're here to answer any questions. Ishmael Hill, Simon Davey are here with Swarm Football Club, and certainly they can answer much more detailed questions than I can. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Do we have it? We good? Used all of it. No problem. Anyone speaking in opposition? Yes, sir. Please step up to the podium.
Hey, Steve. What's happening? Good to see you.
And again, you have 10 minutes.
Yes. My name's Steve Young. I'm with the Mableton Improvement Coalition, the zoning committee. And actually, we're generally supportive of this application. We think, the area is heavy industrial, so a soccer field is actually a godsend. But we do have some concerns about the parking and some concerns about the storm. We hadn't had a chance to look at the stormwater stuff, so if you could send us your...
I did.
Oh, okay, thank you. But we do have some concerns about overflow parking. We understand that Marathon it's sort of a gentleman's agreement. They let them park on their property. If the parking lot fills up, and they've been doing that historically for some time. The concern we have, of course, is if Marathon either changes hands or the tank farm field changes hands, the next owner may not be so cordial about this. So we would like to see any kind of informal agreements actually formalized in a contractual arrangement and included in the zoning, so that should there be a change in property, that these agreements will perpetuate through various ownerships. And that's really all the comments I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else speaking in opposition? Okay, no further opposition. At this time, we'll close public comment, and then we'll Oh, sorry. Sorry. You have 15 seconds remaining if you use it however you like.
Sure. Thank you, Ned. As a lawyer, if you can give me 15 seconds, I want to take them, so I appreciate that. No, I just want to answer Mr. Young's question real quickly, and that is, there is a formalized, it's not an informal gentleman's agreement with Marathon. We do have a very formalized relationship and agreement with them as it relates to that property, and so we're happy to share that. Thank you. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, that was the 15 seconds. With 3 seconds to spare. Okay. Anyone else? 3 seconds? No? Okay. All right. So we will close public comment, and we will dive into any questions that any of the planning commissioners have. Floor is open.
Chairman, I have a question. Mr. Wheeler, if you could, I believe right off the bat, there's some confusion about what the application is for. As I'm reading it, the statement of purpose and site improvements on the applicant's document that we have in front of us is to include a 5,000-seat stadium.
Yes, sir.
Hold on just a second, I'm sorry. Staff report also states that we are approving a 5,000-seat stadium, formerly 3,500-seat stadium. So can you clarify what the applicant is actually asking for?
So in the material that's submitted to staff, in their formal request is a 5,000 square foot stadium. However, speaking to previous other staff, it was a 3,500 stadium. However, again, it is not uncommon for applicants to resubmit their original submittal with just a modification. I would like to take it at face value that it is not a 5,000 square foot stadium, but it's going to, a 5,000 seat stadium, but it's going to be a 3,500 seat stadium. If the planning commission decides to approval, I would just make sure you say that in your recommendation to clarify that it is a 3,500 seat stadium instead of a 5,000 seat stadium. Because again, many times, and no shade to any lawyers out here, but they do resubmit same materials over and over again sometimes without adding anything, or they may do an amendment. Again, lovely people. Don't. So, but yeah, I would take it at face value that again, it is a 3,500 seat stadium.
Any other questions? Go.
I have some questions for Mr. Moore. So all the parking that is on property that's not controlled by Swarm Football Club, is all of it owned by Marathon?
It's all controlled by Swarm at this point.
It's all controlled?
Yes.
All the parking?
Yes.
Okay, but is it all owned by, so I guess I'm confused about the nature of the agreement. I'm assuming that Marathon continues to own the land, but has given them an easement or?
Yeah.
Please step to the podium, sir.
This is Ishmael Hill.
Okay.
And I'd like for him to provide clarity. And before we do that, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, I just want to make sure, following up Mr. Wheeler's response to the question, the 5,000 was in a description that we had that was inadvertently still included in what we supplied, though the plans that were submitted when we submitted our application had reflected a 3,500 seat stadium. So it was my mix-up, not anybody else's, and certainly not Mr. Wheeler's. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So for your question and for clarity on what parking.
Step closer to the mic, please. Make sure we can.
Sure.
There you
Sorry. For clarity on answering your question regarding parking. So the subject property that includes the soccer field is currently owned by the soccer club.
Right.
It was gifted by Marathon to the club. And there's parking currently now on site that's comes along with those improvements. What we have shown here on the plan that's planned west will be new parking on land that we lease from Marathon. So we have a long-term lease there, and they've approved this plan, and that's where we're going to build parking to satisfy the zoning requirements for parking for the stadium.
Okay, so the property to the west is subject to this lease?
Correct.
There's also a small parking lot to the north?
Correct.
And that's also part of the same lease?
small parking lot to the north, share, which are you referencing?
It's in the loop. It's in the loop that includes,
Is that the overflow parking?
So that's, yeah, so that parking is not part of Marathon's parcel. And those are all, that parking is not part of Marathon's parcel, it's part of the landowner who we currently have an agreement with. Once this land use permit is approved, will then be able to build the parking there, subject to our building permit.
and so you'll have a similar lease in place for that
Correct.
parking as well?
Well, or we will actually purchase that parcel, and it'll be part of our development, but it's contingent upon us getting our approval for the SLUB today.
Okay. I'm not sure if this is a question for you or a question for, I'm not sure who this
I'll
is
do
for.
my best to answer or direct it.
But when I drove down Marathon Circle
Sure.
recently, whoever owns the property to the, along the southernmost loop has not mowed the right-of-way in years, apparently, because Marathon Circle is about a 2.5 lane wide road now, as opposed to a 3 lane wide road. And I know that that's not your property, but I guess my question to anyone who can answer it is, how do we make sure that all 3 of those lanes are available for what's going to be considerable traffic?
First, thanks for bringing that to our attention as far as that goes. I think I know which property you're talking about through there. I think 2 ways. Number one, I think that there should be certainly, if it's the Planning Commission's desire, they can direct staff, number one, to identify that so the property can be identified and it can be handled through the city and the city's efforts. The other way is for us to take a look at that and get involved and see what. Because it's a front door for this facility going forward, and so we'd love to help with that.
Okay.
But that's how you would formally do it from my perspective.
And one other question I have, football club has given any thought to recycling? I think many of us have been to large events, sporting and otherwise, where the plastic water bottles and the paper, the compostable paper trash is, food trash is just, there's mountains of it. And as you might know, the city of Mableton is placing quite an emphasis on sustainability and environmental stewardship. And so I guess my question for you all is, what are your plans?
We certainly sustainability, strategy for the city, and we absolutely believe in recycling. I do it at home, so I expect that anything that we're involved in, going forward, that's, and if it's important to the city, certainly it's going to be important to us.
Okay, thank you.
If I could, I had one other question. In the stormwater comments, they specifically referred to the dam that is on the Marathon property. I guess we're calling it the west property there, the additional, the
Yeah,
larger
you can see the
parking
body
lot.
of water just north of the tanks there.
Is there a way to address their concerns about building a parking lot, as they describe it, on the dam with the existing overflow spillway going up? Is there a plan to address that?
Yeah, of course. And once, again, our next process after we complete this process is to civilly study the land. So get our civil engineers to design a parking lot that takes into account the existing dam and the overflow and management of the stormwater, which we'll do with a hydrology study. We intend to have to construct pipes and underground storage underneath the parking that will capture that. So, and I believe the notes that we send from Kimley Horn yesterday specifically addresses this along with all those questions.
Any other questions?
Really just a comment from me. I wish we had that document from Kimley Horn that resolves so many, that apparently resolves so many of these issues. Chris, is that I'm sorry, Mr. Wheeler, is that something that the city has received?
Yes,
Did he? I'm sorry if I missed it.
No. It was, again, it's in a flurry of emails that I received. Again, I got it, I acknowledged it, but then I went on to something else. So I am actually trying to forward it over to you guys at this point in time right now. So.
Okay. Question for, so we saw the site plans. I'm just curious if, I didn't see any elevations as far as like how it's going to look 3D or anything like that. I mean, I see where the soccer fields are going to be stationed. I didn't necessarily see where lights were going to be. I assume they're going to be close to the stadium or the soccer fields for adequate lighting, but I'm just curious what the elevations are going to look like. We have an even greater idea or vision of what this will be.
Sure. So there's existing lighting that will be used. It'll just be upgraded. But that's this existing lighting that's there for the field. But as far as renderings, they do have some design, conceptual renderings. But it looks, it's a, there's not a bunch of huge structures associated with it as much, but they do have those, and we'll make sure that Mr. Wheeler has those right away.
And I think you guys mentioned concessions. So when I hear concessions, I'm literally thinking about a high school football stadium or baseball field with the, conceptually, is that what you guys, or would it be something different? Not saying it has to be like, for example, like the Battery, but I'm just trying to get a
lot nicer than what you would see at a high school facility, because this would be a professional facility as well, so it would reflect the professional nature of that.
Okay.
In other words, it's not. I'm not sure how to really describe, but I get your question.
Yeah.
I very much do. But maybe he can even add a little more flavor or context to that.
Sure.
I understand your question. Go for it.
Sure, and for those of you who've not been to Marathon Soccer Park, this was also renovated in 2021, where we added seats. We added about 900 seats to the fields, the existing field now, which was approved through Cobb County, and built a building, which is part of the structure, the northwest corner of the property, and that's where the concessions are currently in an existing building, men's and women's locker rooms, and offices at the top. So today, if you were to go there and visit a game, you would see a very professional display of concessions provided for our visitors currently.
Okay. And very quickly for the planning commissioners here, I think Mr. Wheeler just forwarded the email from, I think this is, I'm sorry, hold on. This is a stormwater memo from Kimley Horn.
Yes.
It's a 2-page document, so it's not overly extensive as far as the number of pages, but I don't know if the planning commission, if you want to take a moment to take a look at it, to skim through it, or.
So what I'm reading is a response from Kimley Horn to related to the comments from Cobb County Stormwater, but we don't have anything back yet from Cobb County Stormwater as to whether they agree with these comments. Is that
Mr.
the case?
I can answer. Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct, Commissioner Myers. When we received the comments and analysis from staff at the end of last week, which included these comments from Stormwater, we immediately turned around yesterday to get Kimley Horn to address those as best we could so we could get back to Mableton Improvement Coalition, who had said, hey, we're concerned, we want to make sure these are being accounted for, and we wanted to be responsive as we could, but that, staff analysis came out at the end of last week, and we were able to provide this yesterday. But yes, that's correct. I just wanted to give everybody the timeline. This is not something we were sitting on waiting to respond to. But that is correct. As far as has Cobb Stormwater reviewed this, not at this time. But it has been submitted to Mr. Wheeler, who I'm sure will do that.
Clarification, you said Cobb Stormwater has submitted their analysis to Mr. Wheeler, or they haven't submitted it yet?
They submitted comments.
Okay.
Which was or you can answer it, but which is included in the analysis. And once we received that at the end of last week, we quickly wanted to get Kimley Horn, our professional civil engineer, to respond to that in this, so that we were being responsive to it. I believe at this point, though, Cobb Stormwater has not, certainly wouldn't have reviewed it in a day. But
yes, sir.
I got the timeline.
Yeah, no, sir, that's correct. Again, I apologize again for that. There was supposed to be a representative from Stormwater to be here. However, our dates got mixed up, and so they're not available here to answer those questions and to provide clarification regarding that.
Okay. And I'll ask the question. Excuse me. If we don't have if no one can speak to this question, then that's fine, understandable. I'm just asking. So number 2 on the Kimley Horn memo, it's saying that existing stormwater management facility exists near the north side of 3598 Marathon Circle Parkway. However, it likely does not include sufficient volume to provide for the required runoff. Additional capacity will be required elsewhere. And 2A says there's, and I'm not reading every word, three proposed stormwater detention areas are shown on the proposed development zoning plan on the project site to accommodate Cobb County stormwater management requirements. It is not expected that the existing detention facilities will be sufficient. So is this saying that the additional detention areas, is that represented here? And if so, where? Do we have a pointer? I'm just asking.
It won't show up. I tried earlier.
Okay. Because I'm like, I'm just pointing at abstract. So
it won't go on the screen. Yeah, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay.
Just having dealt with this. So the comment that's being addressed is Cobb County Stormwater's highlighting so that there's an existing detention facility that's already been built that's out there now. That's located there, and they're pointing out that it doesn't likely include sufficient volume to provide for all of the Cobb requirements if we're going to be using that, and that additional capacity elsewhere. The comment or response is that Kimley Horn is pointing out, which the reviewer would not maybe potentially have been able to look to that level of detail, but is pointing out that there's 3 proposed stormwater detention areas on site. And this helps a good deal once you get to this point. There's a stormwater detention area in the lower right. There's another stormwater detention area that's kind of hatched out along the top behind that northern section of stands. Is 2 of those areas that are just on this piece of it, as well as additional stormwater once you go to the expanded view.
Just for clarification, I apologize for interrupting. Can you go back? Are you talking about the black dashed lines in those 2 areas?
That's correct, the black dash lines.
Thank you.
Those are reflecting that those are going to be underground. Okay. Because is correct. We're taking that and converting it to underground detention in both of those locations. Also on the adjacent Marathon site, which is the piece we were also talking about with the parking, that we're going to incorporate stormwater management within that itself. And that's the reviewer, or the Kimley Horn civil engineer, simply responding, pointing out that we have recognized that existing single detention is not going to be sufficient. And so we've already identified where the additional detention areas will be.
Okay, so you're saying that
That's how
already,
that works.
it's already being addressed. Like this is just pointing out that one is not enough. It's gonna need 2 more or 3 more.
That's correct.
And you're pointing out here that, okay, well, to satisfy that, here's one, here's one, here's one.
That's what the engineer was reporting. A lot of these comments are they're not necessarily criticisms as much as they are. The Cobb Stormwater Reviewer is simply identifying, hey, I'm not sure, is this being accommodated, addressed, or incorporated? More of a question to make sure that the project engineer knows you can't just use that one detention. You're going to have to accommodate a good deal more. And then the engineer's response was, here, we have. You just didn't see it. And that's why we agree with the Cobb County's stormwater's comments in terms of, yes, we agree, there's going to have to be sufficient areas for that, and we have accommodated that. So these aren't points and counterpoints. It's not really a debate. It's more a discussion that's occurred. And it goes into great more detail once you get to the final design engineering and things like that.
Mr. Chairman, I have another question, if I might.
Ask away.
The parking calculation, where do you come out on parking? Do you have any extra parking at this point for the 3,500 seats?
I believe for 35, don't we have a little bit extra now?
Yeah, we do.
We do, yeah, I thought so.
Zoning calls for one spot for every 3 seats.
And you have how many extra?
We have provided, I just need to pull the one plan out, so let's see if I can see it.
And while you're looking for that, I just want to confirm, you said 1 spot for every 3 seats? Is that what you said?
Correct.
Okay.
According to the plan, 1,192 spaces are required, and we have a total of 1,210. So there's some, not over and above, but there and again,
Okay.
it does exceed.
Because part of Kimley Horn's response, excuse me, says that there might be design changes to the parking, including parking on grass or gravel. Mr. Wheeler, is parking on grass and gravel allowed in a situation such as this under the city ordinances?
So there's 2 ways I can answer that.
Or let's say in this situation, on site.
So let's, you want to answer?
Yeah, let me, because I want to make sure the actual, what they're saying, such as graph or gravel paved to remain below, I think what they meant to say was using the grass pavers systems, which are allowed to ensure that you stay below any impervious surface. I think that's what that's responding to.
Grass or gravel pave?
I just think it
pave.
was just, I think what they meant is grass or gravel paver systems, which
Okay.
are allowed so that you can maintain your proper impervious surface
Right.
area.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
some of those would be converted if you're getting too much, and then you have to convert those, and it's more expensive, but that's what you have to do.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, do we have any other questions from any other planning commissioners? Excuse me. Sheesh. Sorry, I was clearing my throat, so I may not have heard you. No questions? Okay. Then we will, remind me again. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay. So at this time, can we entertain a motion for a up or down recommendation? And it could or could not be with conditions or stipulations? Any motions? I can make it. I'm just leaving it open for the floor for now. Okay. So based on everything that we've heard, seems like it would be something pretty decent for the area. I think I would raise a motion for approval with the condition of the hydrology study, and ensuring that once the additional site plan or the updated site plan has been submitted, that parking considerations with additional parking is not taken away. And just as a point of, I guess, a point of reference or a question to address Commissioner Meyer's question with regards to I guess, the adjacent property. I think that's what you were referencing. Can that be a condition, or is that not allowed?
You can ask for it. You can ask that they submit like a formal agreement to staff if you want to have that in the records. I mean, if you want to. I don't know how enforceable it can be, but well, honestly, I think that's probably a question for the director. I'm not too sure. I mean, I've seen some crazy conditions before, but honestly, I don't know how enforceable it is, unless you want to attach it to a permit and so forth. Unless say, hey, you can't get your CO or your LDP without submitting an agreement. Actually, I have seen that where there's a parking sharing agreement for a permit. You can't get your LDP until that agreement has been submitted to staff and staff can sign off on it. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. I'm just trying to be cautious right here before I should start throwing wild stuff out there. So
it's okay. Yeah, I think to address Commissioner Meyer's concern, I think I think I want to add that as a condition for that adjacent property, to make sure that staff signs off on that as a condition of approval. I know it was a lot, it was a mouthful, but that's my motion for approval. What's the word that I'm looking for? Hydrology study, making sure that parking is not taken away with the site plan and the additional, or excuse me, the adjacent property. Yes, sir. Yes. With staff recommendation, I'm sorry. Can I get a second?
Well, just for the record.
I'm sorry.
Make a motion, and now that you have all the information, make a
Okay, thank you.
so everyone understands what they're hearing and what they're saying.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
If I could, I have a couple of suggestions for additional conditions. Should I make those suggestions now or let the motion be made first?
Motion on the floor, so you need to make a motion to amend to add to that motion, if that's what you're seeking to do.
Should I?
So let me give the succinct and concise motion.
Okay.
No, thank you for intervening. Motion to approve with the hydrology study as a condition. Parking, no reduction in parking with an updated site plan, and agreement for the adjacent property. Do I get a second? Or now you can make the amendment? And staff recommendation, sorry.
I'll second the motion. I think, is that what or should I move to amend it first?
Yeah, so if you're seconding it, that's the motion you're going to be voting on. If you want to add things to that, amend, if you want to accept all those, add additional ones, then you would now take a motion, and you need to get a second to see if anybody else wants to second your additions.
Okay. So I would then move to amend the motion to add a condition that the applicant, prior to the issuance of the land disturbance permit, that the applicant submit a recycling plan to the Mableton Department of Sustainability for their approval. And a second additional condition that should the Swarm Football Club or any future user of this property cease to be able to use the off-site parking, that the occupancy of the stadium would be reduced proportionally.
So we additional conditions? I'll second the additional conditions to the original motion.
Take a vote on adding the amendments to the original motion.
So now we'll hear a vote for the amendments being added on to the original motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed?
So now you recall your original motion and I just read all of those conditions and then take a vote.
Okay. Let's work through this. Okay. So now we will go through the motion. So want to entertain a motion.
You already did it.
I'm sorry, not a motion. I'm sorry.
We're voting.
No. So let me go back. Do I need to entertain a motion for approval with all conditions?
You're saying now there's a motion on the floor for these and then read the recommendations
Mm-hmm.
and then you're asked for a second.
Okay. So now there's a motion on the floor for approval for with these following conditions: the hydrology study, parking considerations to make sure that with an updated site plan, no parking spots are lost, the adjacent property for a formal agreement, staff recommendations, a recycling plan to be submitted, and should the lease not be held should the lease not be off-site for parking, that the seating is reduced proportionately. Does that cover it? All right. So that's the recommendation. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? So now, motion carries. Thank you. Approve with the recommendations. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Next item is the ordinance creating Chapter 13 nuisance, Article 3 noise ordinance. Just to kind of go over just a few points. Again, this chapter is to define what is a nuisance. In these sections, again, we have defined what type of nuisances and the definitions, sound level limitations, what are exempt from the nuisance ordinance, restricted uses and activities such as fireworks and where your fireworks are going off, procedures for the determination of sound level. So in case if there is a complaint regarding a nuisance ordinance, what is the procedures to be able to have to go out and actually check that, and then special variances to allow for certain things to go beyond the approved noise ordinance. This is going to be basically enforced by our code enforcement team. Again, this is literally trying to get us out front regarding what we call nuisance in the city of Mableton, specifically noise ordinances and so forth. Because again, the noise ordinance can range from a barking dog to even a rooster, which are not allowed. But might be an issue and so forth, as well as many other things. And again, when it comes to making sure everybody enjoys their own property in their own piece of land. So, any questions of staff at this point in time?
The question first, did you say that roosters are now or are not?
Let me basically say, roosters are not allowed. So if you are watching this, because I will call code enforcement on you.
Thank you. I wanted that clarification because I could not tell if you said are now or are not.
No, they are not allowed. Please let me be very clear again for the record. Roosters are not allowed.
So, Mr. Wheeler, I do have a couple of questions. Section 13-3, 13.3.4, restricted uses and activities. I'm having a little trouble following notwithstanding the provisions of the other chapter or the other table. Does this section say that landscapers, contractors, etc., cannot? What are the restrictions on them for early morning work hours. And my concern is that folks who work outside need to start early,
Yes,
just
ma'am.
to be safe.
I honestly, I do not have the amendment in front of me. It's on my laptop. I will have to
We can read
find
it.
that. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
can read it for me, so I can, yeah.
Well, it's pretty lengthy, but I don't know if any of the rest of you have looked at this. Yeah, 7 to 7. So it seems to me that this prohibits a contractor from starting in the cool of the morning so that they're done before the heat of the afternoon.
Well, the 7 to 7 is kind of a standard across the board that we use for the examples from other noise ordinance and so forth, because that's just pretty much kind of just a general blanket or rule. 6, it seems to be kind of like we don't want to allow for people to be able to, to get up that early. But again, that's just kind of a standard designated time across the board, unless planning commission want to make a different change, and city council as well too. But that's just kind of just a
Well, I have to confess, I don't have any alternate language to suggest. So I guess I would just make a request of staff that you bring to the attention of the city council the possibility of adjusting those hours
Yes, ma'am.
when the temperature is predicted to be over a certain level. I don't know what that number should be. I don't know if it should be 90 degrees, 95 degrees.
Duration of time to, again, for, as the time changes, there should be adjustment as far as what time somebody should be allowed for contractors and landscapers. Understood.
Right, so that in August, they can start work early and get done at 1 or 2 in the afternoon, as opposed to needing to be out there at 3 or 4 in the afternoon,
Yes, ma'am.
when candidly it's unsafe, if it's that hot.
I'll chime in here. I understand Commissioner Myers' temperatures, but I do feel that 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. work hours, therefore noise ordinance between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. is pretty standard in my experience. And I would find it, I think we would put an undue burden on the city or anyone to enforce if there's a temperature dependent time change. It'd be rather difficult.
Well, I mean, you can take it as a recommendation, but the only verbiage or language that I would potentially recommend or suggest is in that particular section. Where did it go? So it's saying it cannot occur between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. or on Saturday or Sunday before 9. The only thing that I would say is on Saturday or Sunday before 8. That, especially in the summer months, as it seems to get hotter and hotter, giving landscapers the opportunity to get started earlier and potentially finish sooner, that may help. In my time, I haven't seen or heard of landscapers starting or doing really much of anything on Sunday at like 8, 9 o'clock. Not saying that they won't or they don't or it's impossible, but I just haven't come across that. Saturday, yeah, but Sunday, but I mean, if there is a recommendation for time, I would say 9 o'clock as opposed to 8 o'clock. That's the only thing that I can think of. I think 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. is fine. Just the 8 a.m. part. That's the only thing that I can think of.
Chairman Philpott, I just
Yes,
want
sir.
to point out to make sure we're all on the same page that Section 1, 13-3.3.4, Section 1 is non-commercial.
Mm-hmm.
So that allows homeowners to do it on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But number 2, which is commercial landscaping companies, it says or any time on Sunday. So they cannot use it on Sunday. They cannot do it on Sunday. We're all on the same page. There is a restriction that you cannot do it for commercial purposes on Sunday.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Oops. All right, any other questions from any of the, or comments from any other? And so if there are no other questions at this point, do we make a motion to approve with any adjustments or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the noise ordinances. I don't think we have any adjustments, anything to be made as it exists now? No? Okay. Approve the noise ordinance as submitted. Do I have a second? Perfect. Can we get a vote for all those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Motion carries.
Okay, and last item on the agenda is the amendment to Chapter 10, Article 3, Review and Decision-Making Bodies for the Planning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals. Again, this is just to clarify a few things that we had previously discussed about how to make sure we handle certain motions. So again, the updates is, again, it's establishment, composition and terms, as well as meeting and rule procedures and recommendations, as well as doing the exact same things for Board Zoning Appeals for establishment and composition. Specifically for A is, again, we're talking about if a planning commissioner moves out of the district, that is what affects it is when it comes to the composition of the board. Meetings and rules and procedures, again, is to how we're going about addressing our handling our meetings. And then the recommendation, again, is just to clarify how you guys are recommending approval, denial, deferral, and so forth. And then the Board of Zoning Appeals is just pretty much addressing the same concerns regarding the establishment and composition in case somebody moves out of their district. Any comments, any questions, any concerns?
Can you go back? You're saying if someone moves out of the district, what section is that again?
That's Section A, establishment composition for the Planning Commission,
10.3.1?
and Section A, establishment composition.
Okay.
I do not know which numbers. Again, I am lost without my laptop.
That's okay.
Yeah, with the exception being the mayor's.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
So that is number 2. So for number 2 is saying if a planning commission member moves outside the city and or the district of their appointing council member, such move shall constitute the member's automatic resignation from the Board of Appeals. Should that be Board of Appeals or commission?
Well, it should be. There's Board of Appeals, and then should be one for Planning Commission. If it does state Planning Commission, Board of
Yeah.
Appeals and Planning Commission, then that's just a typo. Error
Okay,
by accident.
because it's section 10.3.1 Planning Commission, and then subsection A I guess number 2, and it's saying in there resignation from the Board of Appeals with the exception of the mayor's appointee. And then it goes on, like number 5, it says planning commission member. So that's why I was like, I wasn't sure.
I apologize for
Okay.
that.
Mr. Wheeler, I have a question about recommendations, which is section D2. And it has to do with deferrals or postponements. And if I'm reading this correctly, the Planning Commission can defer a recommendation for no more than 40 days. Is essentially 1 month. But the Planning Commission may postpone making a recommendation to the City Council for up to 90 days if requested by the applicant in writing. And I understand why why our ability to defer it was changed from 1 month to 40 days, because the calendar doesn't always have a 30-day interval between the first Thursday. And there's at least 1 month in this year, well, 2 actually, well, 1, that we're going to meet on the second Thursday of the month. So it also seems like the applicant's ability to request a postponement shouldn't be held to 90 days. It should maybe go to 100 days. The vagaries of the calendar can be accommodated. For example, in October, we meet on the second Thursday. So if it's postponed, if it's first heard in June and the applicant requests continuances, they wouldn't be able to get to that 90-day mark because we don't meet until the second week of October.
Okay, I see what you're saying. My math is a little bit rusty, but I understand what you're saying.
It's the silly calendar we have.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah,
have
yeah,
the same
yeah,
number
yeah,
of months in
yeah.
same number of days in every month. That would solve an awful lot.
Okay. Well, I know the applicants will be appreciative of the extra time in case they need it.
I think the intention is to give them 3 months, but if
Yeah,
we
yes,
only
ma'am,
give them
yeah.
90 days, they might not get 3 months.
Yes, ma'am, yeah. The intention is to give them enough time to, again, especially the bandwidth of addressing all this stuff as well. So, yes, ma'am, I understand what you're saying. Yes, ma'am. Professionally, I have no qualms with that.
So is that, just for clarification, is that a formal amendment to change it from 90 days to 100 days?
That's up to you guys.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Are there any other questions from any other commissioners? Because I did have one. I wasn't totally sure. I think this is section 10.3.1, subsection B6, where it says the planning commission shall appoint a secretary who may be an officer or employee of the city or a member of the planning commission. Were we supposed to appoint someone? I don't recall us doing it. Or if there's greater reasons for not doing it. I just want to make sure, because I don't know if the secretary is supposed to keep minutes and it
Yes.
flows into.
Right now, I'm your unofficial secretary.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm possibly trying. I'm doing my best to keep minutes, unless you guys want to formally, nominate me and let a point to say, Chris, you'll be our secretary. Typically, staff is usually often the secretary anyway. Usually it'd be a planning tech or a planner usually keeping minutes of their interactions of the planning commission. So unless there's somebody who's willing to take their time out of their busy day to review and actually produce minutes, that would be a staff function where we keep the minutes of your meetings.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure from a minutes perspective that we weren't in a gray area or we didn't subject ourselves to anything litigation because of
No. I'll be doing the minutes until otherwise. Yeah, we are gonna hire extra people, right? I'm just.
Just a comment, since you're talking about that, that's, my experience has been that the clerks, someone from the clerk's office, city clerk.
Would you need to, okay.
Sorry, good evening. Michael Hughes, Community Development Director for the City of Mableton. Just to address your concern, or not concern, but your observation, typically a secretary function comes from a city clerk's office or maybe a county clerk's office. So I'll talk to the city manager about options that we may have to have somebody from our city clerk's office, what they're trained to do, so that we have minutes that are not that yours are not accurate, but that's what they do. So thank you for bringing it up, and we will get back to you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the commissioners? Would you like to raise a motion for the, okay.
So I would move that we recommend adoption. Are we adopting or recommending adoption? Okay.
All planning commissions and recommendations to city council.
Right. I move that we recommend adoption of the amendments to Chapter 10 of the ordinances for review and decision-making bodies of the City of Mableton Code of Ordinances, an amendment to section 10.3.1 D2 to replace 90 days with 100 days.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any,
Aye.
any opposed? None? Okay, the ayes have it. Motion carries.
Congratulations, Planning Commissioners, you got through your first meeting.
Oh. Thank you.
Do we need a motion to?
Well,
actually
before
adjourn?
I did want to introduce the new staff. As you guys know, you know who I am. I'm Christopher Wheeler, the Planning and Zoning Manager. It is a pleasure to introduce two new staff members who are my bosses, the new Community Development Director and the Deputy Community Development Director. If they could come up and just say a few words, I would appreciate it.
Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate that. Again, reintroducing myself, Michael Hughes, Community Development Director for the City of Mableton. Been on the job, well, let me put it this way. New to this role, but not new to the City of Mableton. I actually live in the City of Mableton and have for over 20 years now. Excited to be a part of the Mableton team, and I'm the current for District 4. That role will end for me the end of June. An opportunity to work with at least a couple of the sitting planning commissioners here in that. And also we'll introduce Tina Garver, who's our Deputy Director as well.
Nice to meet everyone. I'm Tina Garver, Deputy Director, Community Development. I'm coming over from the city of Powder Springs. I was the Community Development Director there for about 18 years, and so I'm happy to move over to the neighbors here and just learn all your new processes and help set up your new city, so I'm excited.
Thank you. And welcome to you both. We appreciate it, and we welcome the expertise. Okay, with that, I'd like to make any other questions, comments from any other commissioners? If there are none, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second the motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, meeting